G'day and welcome back to the vlog. I hadn't done a vlog for a while, so I'm doing one today, and it's about all I can do today. It's windy and cold. Probably you'll hear the rain noise. It started to rain just as I pressed record. If it gets loud enough, then you'll hear it over my voice, and probably that's a good thing, because who wants to listen to me drone on? See what I did there. Anyway, I want to talk a bit about regulations today. Oh, that's unusual, isn't it? That's never happened before. One of the sort of worrying things looming on the horizon is the United Nations. Now, previously, we've had very few problems with, individual countries have introduced things like registration. America did it, but they got it wrong. So John Taylor took them to court and they had to turn off the registration system. It was against the law. Other countries have introduced registration. We've got Ireland and, I don't know, a few others. Many countries are looking at it. I know that England's looking at it. I know that Australia's looking at it. I know New Zealand has discussed the potential in one of its discussion papers. So, registration, we don't know. But the UN's, the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, which is a UN body, UN organisation, it has suggested a worldwide drone registry, a database of every commercial and recreational drone on the planet. Seriously? Have these people got nothing better to do? Don't we have a whole lot of incurable diseases? Isn't there famine in a whole lot of countries? Don't we have problems with peace and war breaking out in otherwise peaceful areas? Doesn't the UN have better things to do than demand that you and I and the little kid down the road register our toys with them? And of course, who's going to pay for that? Well, it's not going to be free, is it? The UN is a giant money pit. That organisation consumes so much money because it's full of bureaucrats. And what do bureaucrats like to do? They like to take a dollar from you, fart around with it, turn it into coffee and donuts, and give you back 5 cents. That's the way they work. So this would be possibly one of the worst ideas ever to come out of, second only to Esperanto. What's Esperanto? Go and look it up. If you don't know what Esperanto is, that was another United Nations initiative. Oh yes, that was going to change the world. Did it? No. So, as I say, a global drone register, well, maybe for military, maybe even for commercial, but for recreational, you've got to be kidding me. How stupid is that? Now, fortunately for us, the ICAO is only they can't enforce rules. They're giving recommendations. They are a guiding body. They're not they can't produce the regulations themselves. They're just encouraging countries to form this global database, form a global database and require their people to register, where it'll all be held centrally, just waiting for the hackers to come and do whatever they want with it. Oh man, you think people would learn, don't you? You think people would? I think bureaucrats. You become a bureaucrat when you've decided to stop learning. That's the demarcation line. Once you've decided to stop learning, once you think you know everything there is to know, then you're qualified to be a bureaucrat. Now, Alan Yu has got a YouTube channel. I watch it. I've subscribed. I think he's got about 1,000 subscribers. I kind of like, sometimes a bit repetitive, like me, which is probably why I like him. But he deals with drone issues in Canada. He's based in Canada. I've mentioned him before. And I'll put a link to his channel again in the description of this channel. Now, he went to one of the Transport Canada briefings, which was held in Vancouver, I think, in Canada, and he filmed the proceedings, and oh my goodness, you would not believe, talk about cloth heads. Transport Canada were there. I would have thought it would be a consultative meeting where they go out and they interact with the drone community to try and get some feedback and try and explain what they're doing. No, it was this is what happens. This is it. This is what we say. And, one guy basically said, I think, so you're telling me that a child can't fly their own toy in their own backyard 10 feet above the ground without breaking the regulations? And the response was, yep, you're right. I mean, my God, are these people that stupid? And they didn't even seem to understand that in Canada there is a 500-foot minimum, as there is virtually everywhere in the world, 500-foot lower altitude limit for manned aviation. Because they seem to be thinking that, oh, you can't fly at 10 feet in your backyard in case a plane comes through. Oh, seriously, honestly. But they're saying, oh, it'll only be a technical breach of the regulations. Well, technical? So you're saying it's okay to break the rules sometime. Any regulator that says, this is a fantastic rule, but it's okay to break it sometimes, they're really seriously confused. If it's a really good rule, then it's not okay to break it. Otherwise, it's obviously a rule that's conditional on other factors. So it should be stated that it's conditional on other factors, but that's not the way regulators work. Now, there's something I want to bring up about this regulation thing. We have regulation by desk pilots. I've mentioned this before, and it's a really serious issue because lives are at stake here. We're not talking about, money or anything. It's lives are at stake. And I liken it to a situation, say you had a brain tumour and you had to go into hospital and have an operation performed on you. And you had a choice of surgeons. You had one guy who had many, many years of experience. And maybe he knew exactly what he was doing. He'd done it all before. And another guy who'd never done brain surgery before. But he'd been told what was involved by someone who'd read a book about it. Which of those surgeons would you choose if your life was at stake? Well, of course, you'd choose the guy with the experience, the hands-on, the knowledge and understanding, not the guy who'd been told something by another guy who read a book about it. No way. But this is the situation we have with regulations. We've got regulators who have never flown FPV. They've never flown radio control model aircraft of any kind to any extent. They have no first-hand experience about the capabilities and the limitations of the things they're trying to regulate. They are the surgeon who's been told how to do something by another guy who read a book about it. The people who are the actual surgeons who have done this are you and I. The people in the hobby, the people who have done this every weekend almost of their adult lives or even their whole lives. We've gone out there and we've flown the stuff. I've got hundreds of hours of FPV experience. I've got thousands and thousands of hours of RC model flying experience. But my input counts for nothing. It's like saying we don't care about the surgeon who's trained and qualified and experienced. We want to listen to this guy who has read a book. No, it's not the right way to do it. And I say lives are at stake. You might think, well, if that's the case, regulators should just be ultra-conservative and then people are safe. No, think about it. Think about it for a minute. Whenever someone goes up in an aeroplane or a helicopter, a human being is in a manned aircraft, they're at risk. There is just no way to fall from more than a few tens of feet without killing yourself. So anytime you're hoisted hundreds or thousands of feet above the ground, your life is at risk. You're relying on the fact that systems work okay, that bolts don't break, that computers don't fail, that engines don't stop. All those many, many points of failure, you're reliant on those. So the fewer people that have to go up in aeroplanes or helicopters, the less likelihood there is that people will be hurt. What we're talking about is unmanned aviation. This is what we're bringing in, unmanned aviation. It is always going to be safer to do aerial photography with a drone than with a helicopter with 2 or 3 people in it, isn't it? Think about it. So if regulators go ultra-conservative and say, oh, we can't have drones, except under these very specific circumstances, then it's going to be much slower for the transition from manned aviation to unmanned, which means we're going to keep putting people up in the air, endangering their lives in helicopters and planes unnecessarily because the regulations are just too harsh to allow people to use drones. So by going ultra-conservative, as many regulators are, they're putting lives in danger. They're putting pilots' lives in danger. They're putting crew lives in danger. Why? Unnecessarily, because drones can do so much of this stuff without endangering anyone's life. Nobody's lifted off the ground. And I would much rather have a 1.5 kilo Phantom 4 land on my head if something went wrong than to be in a turbine helicopter when the tail rotor stops working at 500 feet. I mean, let's face it, the outcomes are significantly different. I might get a bit of a bruise, maybe a little cut, but the people in the helicopter are probably going to be either very, very seriously injured or they're going to die. So regulators, you're going to realise you have a responsibility to protect people by allowing the use of drones whenever possible. And your current regulations don't do that. Your current regulations have the presumption that these drones are dangerous. They're going to kill people. They're going to knock down aircraft. Well, if there are fewer aircraft in the sky, because many, many of the tasks have been taken over by unmanned aircraft, then the sky is safer. There's less chance of an aircraft being knocked out of the sky. So you've got to act proactively. You've got to encourage the uptake, the use of drones, the growth of the industry to get manned aircraft out of the sky where they don't need to be. The only time you need a manned aircraft in the sky is when you're transporting people. And transport aircraft usually fly at 30,000 feet. So drones are not really an issue to them, except around airports. And okay, then you've got more resources to look after the airport area and keep it clear. What do you think? Am I right? Am I wrong? Is the regulators' overcautious attitude to drones actually placing more lives in danger than if they said, well, let's speed the transition from manned aviation to unmanned. Get people out of the air so they're safe on the ground. What do you think? Am I wrong? Am I stupid? Is it a good idea? And if you were on the operating table and 2 surgeons turned up, one who had many years of experience, hands-on and knowledge and understanding, and another one who had got everything he knows from a friend who read a book but had never done it himself, whose opinion and whose skills would you rely on to save your life? And that is why the regulators should admit, we don't actually know a shitload about this stuff. We don't know actually a lot of stuff, but we would like you guys, the guys who do this, inform us, educate us. You have a bigger part in the rule making process because you're the guys that know what you can do, what you can't do, what's safe, what's not safe. That's the way regulators should be working. But unfortunately, as I said at the beginning of this vlog, in order to become a bureaucrat, you've got to be totally sure that you've learnt everything there is to know and close your mind to new information. That's why we have bad regulation in so many places. I mean, look at Portugal. Oh, I'm sure Louis will chime in the comments and tell us all about the situation in Portugal, which is not good at all. And look at the EASA recommendations in Europe. Oh, these are people who obviously don't have a clue. They're speaking to the guy who read the book. They're not speaking to the people who actually fly these things. There you go. Put your comments in the bottom, have your say. Thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't. Toss a coin if you can't make your mind up. And just an update on the big fly-in. So far, I think about 150 people have indicated that they definitely coming or would like to come, which is good. That's brilliant. That's excellent. Working on dates, trying to get some dates sorted out. Still going to have one hell of a battle with the local council. You wouldn't believe the situation here, honestly. But join the Facebook group if you haven't. If you're not a Facebook user, I'll keep you informed through these videos anyway. But go to the Facebook group, link in the description, or I've put it here. There you go. So you can just type that in, and that'll take you to the Facebook group. Join up, have your say, and if you've got questions, ask them there, because I want this flying to be the biggest one we've ever had, which, well, hopefully it will be. And hopefully we've got some names coming. I know Matt Ogborn is coming. A lot of people know who Matt is and his channel and his popular Facebook group. So hopefully we'll get more of these big names coming. There you go. Thanks for watching. The rain stopped. Woo, but it's still blowing a gale. Never mind. See you later.